Top is quite popular, but as a dietitian, I see a lot of problems with it. That's what we're going to talk about today. So this topic of Halo Top and just diet ice creams in general is something that has been on my mind to talk about for a while now, and we're finally getting to it. And I think this is an important conversation for us to have because I see these types of diet ice creams and Halo Top in particular becoming more and more popular all the time. And throughout this video, a lot of what I'm going to be talking about applies to Halo Top specifically, but some of it also extends to just the diet ice cream explosion that we're kind of seeing right now. You know, you have Halo Top and a lot of other small brands, but you're also seeing some of the bigger, more established ice cream brands coming out with their own versions in this category to try to compete with the other brands like Halo Top that have been so successful. So the first big problem I see with Halo Top and ice creams like it is that they encourage a clean your plate mentality, they can encourage binge eating, and they encourage people to disconnect from their body's own cues. You know, with Halo Top, they say things like, save the bowl, you're gonna wanna eat the whole pint, or stop when you hit the bottom. And then they also have the calorie count for the whole pint just plastered on the front of every flavor as a major part of the design of the packaging and really the focus of the packaging. And I think the appeal of this sort of product for a lot of people is that they either feel like they're out of control around ice cream and they can't stop themselves once they start, or they feel like no matter what, they're just going to finish the container and eat the whole pint. And so for people who feel that way, something like Halo Top seems like a better option than just eating regular ice cream. But here's the thing, products like this aren't helping the root problem, they're just perpetuating it. Because if you feel like you can't control yourself around ice cream or that you are going to eat the whole pint no matter what, there are a few different reasons why that might be happening. The first reason is that you're hungry. If you are under eating, then it makes sense that you would feel out of control around ice cream because your body is just searching for that energy that it needs. Another reason you might feel out of control is if you are restricting ice cream. So even if you're getting an overall adequate amount of food, if you're restricting that ice cream, if it's on the no-no list and you won't let yourself have it, then when you do finally, break that rule you've set for yourself and go ahead and eat the ice cream, your brain and body kind of go into this feast-famine mode where it's like, we never get this, we might never get it again. And so if we're having it right now, if we've already kind of gone down this road and we've broken the rule of never eating it, then we need to eat as much as possible because who knows if or when we'll ever have this food again in the future. If someone feels like they have to eat the whole pint of ice cream or they are going to eat the whole pint of ice cream regardless of the other factors, that might come from a history of dieting. If you have a history of dieting, especially diets that restrict your amount of food, it's easy to get in a mindset where you eat everything that's offered because on a diet like that, you want to maximize the amount of food that you're able to have because the diet is restricting that. So you kind of want to bump up against those guidelines. So then if you have that mentality kind of ingrained from dieting, that can transfer over to other things. Also, for someone maybe who grew up in a home where, as a child, they were forced to clean their plate and to eat everything that was there regardless of how hungry they were or if they wanted the food. Both of these can put someone in a mindset where they feel like they have to eat everything that's offered no matter what their body is telling them. And when it comes to something like Halo Top, it doesn't address any of the issues I just went through. If you aren't eating enough food overall, diet ice cream isn't going to help with that. And if you are never allowing yourself to have the real ice cream that you love, Halo Top isn't going to help with that either. If you have a clean the plate mentality from a history of dieting or from your childhood, a product that encourages that type of behavior, encourages you to disconnect from your body's own cues, isn't going to help you break free and actually tune in to what your body is saying. The solution instead is to make sure that you are getting an adequate amount of food, to allow yourself to have the foods that you enjoy, to listen to what your body is saying instead of using external rules to determine how much you are eating. And I know that this can sound scary if you're someone who feels like you are out of control around ice cream, or you might feel like, okay, well, that's not true for me, I can't have that stuff around. But what we have to remember is that restricting is what actually leads to that feeling of being out of control control binging and all of that sort of thing. And so the solution to that isn't to go back and restrict again, because it just keeps feeding into that cycle. Instead, we need to stop restricting. And then when we do that, we can be in a place where, because we know that we can have the ice cream or whatever food whenever we really want it, then we can have it when we want it, we can enjoy it and appreciate it, but then we can also pass it up at times when we don't want it. And so we don't feel like that food is in control of us, or like we can't have it around, because we're not putting our brain and our body in that position where they feel like, okay, if we're eating this thing, we need to eat as much as we can right now, because we don't know if this is ever going to happen again. And I also want to point out that none of this stuff is a personal failing. I think a lot of times we can feel like, it's our fault when we feel out of control around a food, but really this is your body's natural response and reaction to restriction. And so it's not a failing, it's actually a sign that your body is responding the way that it should to take care of you, keep you healthy and alive. Another problem I see with Halo Top is the good food, bad food messaging. Now, this is something that happens, all over the place with all kinds of food brands. It happens with recipes too. I'm sure you've seen recipes for guiltless this or sinful that. So it's not Halo Top alone that's doing this, but they definitely do it a lot. I mean, just start with the name. It's Halo Top, and the whole idea is that this is the good food or the guiltless food, or this isn't sinful like those other ice creams. Then when you look at their ads, you see that they have a literal demon and angel in their commercials, where the demon is supposed to represent, regular ice cream, and the angel is up there in heaven where they've created Halo Top, where you can have the ice cream you want and you don't have to be sinful or bad when you eat it. I mean, this isn't subtle stuff at all. They're going very heavy-handed with the moral language and symbols and ideas and attaching those to their product. Now, at first, this might not seem like a big deal. It's just cute marketing, or it's just, a way to describe a recipe or something like that. But it really is important, because when we use this type of moral language to describe our food, it messes up the way we feel about our food, but it also affects the way we see and treat ourselves, and it affects the way we see and treat others. We don't want people feeling like a bad person because they like eating desserts. Eating a vegetable doesn't make you a good person. Eating a dessert doesn't make you a bad person. And it's totally normal to enjoy desserts because they taste good. And this also relates to what we were talking about earlier. If someone eating a dessert, or even just liking a dessert, if they feel like that is some sort of weakness or makes them less worthy or makes them a bad person in some way, then that can lead to restriction, which is no good. But it also means that when the person does actually eat the bad food, in this case, regular ice cream, then they can't even enjoy it, because the whole time they've got all of these other things tied up with that, all of this guilt and shame and feeling, judgment and personal failure, when none of that stuff needs to be there. Another problem here is this idea of the healthy swap. Now, I have a whole video about this, so I will link that for you if you missed it or if you need a refresher. But when we're talking about the ice cream, the diet ice creams, a big problem is satisfaction. If eating a diet ice cream like Halo Top does not give you the same level of satisfaction or enjoyment as eating regular ice cream would, then it's not a good swap. Now, if you really love Halo Top or one of the other diet ice creams and it is legitimately your favorite, like if you had to choose between that and another ice cream, if all the other factors were the same, like you would go with the Halo Top, then by all means, have it, enjoy it. If you actually really, really like it, that's not a problem. But the problem is when you're trying to use this food as a replacement for some other food and it's just not hitting the mark. And another problem is just this idea that we need diet ice cream in the first place. There is nothing wrong with eating regular ice cream. It's tasty, and if you enjoy it, then by all means, have it as a part of your life. And when you do that, you'll find that you don't feel out of control around it because you're allowing yourself to have it when you actually want it, and that you're able to eat an amount that's right for you in that moment. Now, that amount is going to change from, time to time whenever you're eating ice cream. Maybe one day you need a little bit more, a little bit less flavor-wise. Maybe you just want a couple spoonfuls and that's good for you. Maybe you want more than that. Also, your hunger is going to play a part in all of this too, and that's perfectly okay. But if you get rid of the restriction and you get rid of the diet mentality, then your body can take care of the rest. And there are gonna be times where you undershoot and eat a little bit less than what your body is asking for. And there are gonna be times where you overshoot and eat a little bit more than your body is asking for. But that is all fine, and it's all just a part of being human. It's all a process, and it's about learning from our experiences. It's not about being perfect or getting it right all the time. Our bodies don't require that, and we can trust that our bodies know what to do and that they can handle it and make the appropriate adjustments. And I'd love to hear in the comments your thoughts and experiences with all of this. You could even just let me know what your favorite ice cream flavor is. For me, it's the Ben & Jerry's Tonight Dough. That stuff is so good. And if you happen to be new here and you want more healthy eating tips and nutrition info and videos like this one, then make sure that you subscribe, because eating healthy and living a healthy lifestyle really doesn't have to be complicated, and I want to show you how to do it. And if you want to watch some more videos, I have a couple linked over here that you might like. Thanks for watching. I hope you're having a great day, and I'll talk to you next time.